Hi, welcome to another session. My name is Pradeep, and in this video I'm going to explain you. We know HANA system is very special, so we will see what is the specialty about the HANA database. We will understand here what is one OLTP system, what is OLAP system and how it is different, how the evolution of HANA started, okay, and the more we will discuss from technical point of view, what is in-memory technology, what is columnar storage, how the columnar storage is different from your traditional row storage. So all these things we are going to see in this particular video in detail. Stay tuned. I have written one blog on this in-memory technology, so that I will give the link on the description, and also you can see the I button. If you click on there, you will redirect to that blog section and you can read it. This is your current architecture. So we have, yes, Antil. So this is your database. Okay, so this is our database. Then you have one application layer is there. Then we have one presentation layer is there. This is how current system we are working. So here you have the GUI. This is your presentation layer. Then you have the application layer, where we are executing the ABAP programs by using the NetWeaver. So this is your application layer. And we have one underlying database is there. This is any database. So somewhere you will find Oracle database, somewhere you will find a SQL server, somewhere you will find, let's say, DB2. So like initially when SAP introduced the ERP product, okay, so initially they introduced the product, or they only focus in this part, that means the ERP segment. So that is why right now if you'll see anywhere, you will find SAP ERP, SAP S4 HANA. So now we are not saying SAP ECC or something, it is SAP ERP, because initially they only focus on the ERP side. They never bothered about the database, or we can say the application they have developed in such a way that it will work on any database, right? So that is why you will find different databases are available, right? And this is how currently or in existing system you are working. Now we are going to give the, or if you'll say what is the final product, that is your S4 product. So in every aspect we are going to give a better solution to our customer. So that means we are not going to use this database. Why? We have to discuss that, we have to understand that. So in place of this database, we are going to use a different database. Please highlight this. I'm highlighting this word database, because right now I'm saying database, later we will see it is appliance, later we will see it is the platform, the complete ecosystem. So that means now, if nowadays if you'll say HANA is only a database, it is absolutely wrong. HANA is not only the database, but I'm intentionally using the word right now, it is database. Okay, so that means we are going to use, in place of any database, we are going to use a different database, or we are going to use our own database, that is your HANA database. But HANA, the final product, so we did not got the final product as it is, so a lot of evolutions was there. Here also we have a modifications are there. That means in application layer also we are going to see the changes, right? So here you are going to get the new features, new NetWeaver you are going to get the CDS views. So all these things will be there. So I can say this is the new NetWeaver we are going to get. And in presentation layer also we are going to give a better solution to our customer. So here you are going to see, or maybe you must have idea on this area, that is your Fury, right? Or we can give them WebGUI or Webden Pro. So that means if we will compare each segment, so instead of a traditional database, we are going to give a different type of database. Why and what are the features or what are the benefit, we will see that. In application or in the programming side also, we are going to see the developments. Like, as you know, your existing ABAP is Java based application, whereas the S4 HANA, okay, S4 HANA Business Suite, it is based on C and C++. And here we are going to give that a different layer. So basically, if you'll see, for example, presentation layer, why the changes are required. Okay, so the changes is right now, like you just compare, I have the laptop, Microsoft is installed, I can use my Microsoft Word, Excel, all this. So that means I can say, to use the MS products, I have to purchase the laptop. That means I need to invest on the hardware side. Then we need to invest on the application side or application. Then we can use the system. But nowadays, it is not the way how we used to work in before 20 years or before 15 years. So everybody is nowadays completely focusing on the SaaS technology, service as solution. So in this phase, if any company is going to say that you need to use my application or you need to use my software, for that you need a server, you need to do the database, all these things, if it is required, maybe less number of customers will be interested for this type of technology. It is something like we have the Google document. For the using the Google document, you no need to invest anywhere. You must have a Google account and you can use the Google documents or Google products. Even if you are going to pay to Google, then it will be very less amount you have to pay as your subscription charges. Same thing also here. So what is the benefit? Benefit is I no need to invest on the laptop or the hardware side. Rather, I'm going to pay some subscription charges, monthly, yearly subscription charges. And here the flexibility is there. Anywhere, in any device, I can use those documents. I'm not restricted to only my laptop. So that if I am carrying my laptop, then only I can use it. Otherwise, I can't use it. It's not like that. So flexibility is there. And second thing, I don't want to invest on the laptop. Same thing here also. So now our customers, they don't want to invest on the infrastructure. That means they don't want to invest on the uh, like data center, or they don't want to invest on the server. So they want any cloud solution where they can use the application, right? So this is the concept of your cloud computing or cloud technology. So different companies, they started giving the solution. SAP is also started giving the solution. So that is why whatever I have mentioned, whether it is Fury or Waves UI and all the different deployment options are there, that I will come later. But initially, the eye-catching, or we can say this is the more attractive to attract more number of customers, this is the cloud solution. Okay, so let's highlight one by one in why we need the in why we need an advanced system, what is the issue with the current system. So initially, when SAP introduced the product, whether it is any, you can say whether it is CRM or let's say whether it is ERP, the main focus was to give the solution to the customer so that they can operate their business functions, right? So that means initially the ERP product, what was earlier there, okay, for example ECC, initially, like if you'll see the journey of SAP, you can see first R2, leave it, R3, then later in 2004 we got the ERP segment, and ERP segment or ECC segment, when we got it, it was perfectly fine, there was no issue, but till the time globalization was not there. That means if we are only focusing, or if we need the informations only for the operation point of view, then absolutely this one is fine, so we don't have any issue. So let me delete those things. In future we are going to see. So this is your R3 system. This system, we are saying that you must have idea on this one. This is your what? OLTP system. Online transaction processing system. That means this system is very good for your day-to-day operation purpose, right? So that means we have the opening stock, we sold something, then end of the day we have some closing stock. This information is enough to run the business for tomorrow. We have some receivables, customers informations are there, open items are there, we received something, then end of the day or end of the quarter, or sorry, end of the weekly, we can say these are our receivable balances. These are the basic information or your transaction information. But once the globalization started, that means company started operating in different countries. So where your customer is not your competitor is not available in the same city or same country. So in that case, we need the high-end reporting system, or we can say the previous system what you are using, the OLTP system, is not enough capable to provide you the all the information. So we need something called multi-dimensional reporting system, or which is nothing but, you must be heard this one, BW system. So that means for the reporting purpose, we need a data warehousing system. So later SAP introduced. Initially it was they were giving only the ERP segment. Then later they started working on the ERP, the reporting system, and there here they introduce, for the reporting point of view, BW, business warehouse. Again, this is the application. To run this application, we need a underlying database. SAP, they don't have their own database, so they have to go for a third-party database. So this one is also, you are using any database. Correct? This is your any database. And front-end point of view, SAP, you will find here most of the companies they are using BO, business object. Actually, the business object initially it is not the product of SAP. Later SAP acquired that company, then finally it becomes the SAP product. So BO. Now, sorry, let me correct it. So you know the structure of the database, the traditional database, which is consist of rows and columns, a traditional database, RDBMS system, whatever you can say. So we will highlight this one later. Now coming to what is the problem in this system. This system, it is designed with in such a way that it is good for your recording the data, but it is not good for reading the data. That means if I'm going to write the data, it is going to write the data in a very fast way. But if we are going to try, or if you are trying to retrieve the data, so this data is not, or in the same fast way, we are not going to get this one. So that's why I can say the write access is fast and the read access is slow, right? So write access is fast and read access is slow. This is how it was designed, because here we are using the traditional RDBMS, and to store the data we are using the magnetic disk to store the data. This is the secondary problem. First problem is how we are going to take the data from the OLTP system to analytic system. This system is your OLAP system. Initially, when your users are going to work, they are not going to work on the BW system. The regular transactions will be posted in this system, right? So they are going to feed the data here, and the data is going to store here. Then all your operational activities, everything will be posted here in this system, OLTP system. But analytical point of view, like we must work with your BW consultants, so they are taking the data specifically from the profitability analysis point of view. So they are going to take the data from the analytic, that means from your OLTP system. Right. So now your source data or all your documents, everything is available in the source system, that is your OLTP system. Anyhow, we need to bring the data from this database to this database. Then only we can do the analysis or the reporting point of view. This process is known as your ETL process. So that means from this database, we need to take the data So we need to take the data to the analytical system or OLAP system. This is your OLTP system and this is your OLAP system, and this one we are saying that this is ETL. Again, when you are going to take the data from one system to another system, or we can say what I can say, like for example, in organization, okay, in organization you don't have a only one system. In organization you have different systems are there, right? So you have this happens actually initial days, right? Okay, so this is the ETL system. So from different systems, so in your, if you go to the data center, so they don't have only the SAP system, they have some different systems are also there. In another system, let's say in plant, they are using Oracle system, or different applications are they are using, and from different systems they are going to take the input, or they are going to take the information for the reporting point of view. That process we are saying that ETL, extraction, transformation and loading the data. That is the meaning of your ETL, or simply we can say we need to take the data from the OLTP system to the OLAP system. Again, for this one they have to purchase the license, or any ETL tool they have to purchase. Like in market, if you'll see, the most popular, you will find one of the popular ETL tool is your Informatica. So that means customers, now you can see, they have to pay the license for ECC, they have to pay the license for BW, again they have to pay the license for the ETL. And this data, or the data what they will take from the source system, when they will take, for example, let's say with a regular time interval they are going to take the data from the OLTP system to the analytical system. Let's say in every 3 days the BW consultant or the analytics consultants, they are going to take the data from the source system. So that means whatever the data you are compiling for the reporting point of view, this is 3 days old. Even if someone, let's say in any organization, they are scheduling the batch jobs for EDL on daily basis, that means we can say it is 1 day old. Nowadays, any information or any report, we can't afford this is with 1 day old data. So that is why this problem was there. That is why initially I told we are getting a slow reports. We are getting an outdated report, right? That is the concept of ETL. So that means from this system we need to take the data. Okay, anyhow we got the data. Initially the reporting problem solved, we got the report now, but once we keep on adding the data in this systems behaves very slowly. The reason is this, first we have to understand the architecture of this system. Okay, now your data was available here. Through the ETL process, we transferred the data to here. We are going to take the data for your processing purpose. So initially the data volume when it was less, so system performance it was okay, but gradually once we keep on adding the data in the source system, then the system started behaving very slowly. To understand this one, we have to understand the architecture of your current database. The current database or the RDBMS system, the traditional RDBMS system, it is also known as two-dimensional structure. So that means two-dimensional structure means when you are going to store the data, we know very well when we are going to store the data. So data is going to store in the table. Okay. So how the data is going to store in the table, that we have to understand. And second thing, this is a system which is not capable of processing the data. This system is not capable of processing the data. This system is only just to store the data. You take this one or this one, it is only available to store the data. We will take an example, simple example of your laptop. Then I will come to here. If you'll check your laptop is divided into, your hardware part is divided into 3 segments. One is your processing unit. Then we have a hard disk is there, or we are saying that this is ROM. With this processor, we have the RAM is also there, temporary memory, what we are saying that. So how currently you are working in the system. You just imagine, like when you are going to start the laptop or desktop, the booting process started, right? So what is the concept of booting process? That means the entire operating system loaded to the RAM. Okay, so that means we can say RAM is connected with the processing or the processor. If your RAM capacity is more, then processing will be faster. If your RAM is less, then processing will be slow. Because whatever the data is available in the hard disk, it is just to store the data permanently, or we can say this is a permanent memory. This is because we know this is the volatile memory. So this data is available here. We need to bring the data back to your processor, or we need to bring the data to RAM first. Okay, and from RAM we are taking data for processing. Then once again we are going to transfer this one, and finally we are going to store this one. So this is how in current architecture, or in this your desktop or laptop, this is how you are currently working, right? You imagine 15 years back we are using some basic mobile phones. That time your RAM capacity was very less, with some very nominal RAM was there. So that's why we are using some basic phones. But nowadays we are using smartphones where we have a high-end RAM system is there. Processor is also faster. That is why we are able to process the data in a very fast way, or we are handling more number of data, more volume of data we are handling. This process is known as your IO process, input output data. So that means how frequently we are exchanging the data. We are sending the data and we are receiving the data. So that is why you must notice whenever your data is available in your temporary memory, RAM, then quickly we can retrieve the data. Okay, so that means we can say RAM has a direct connection with your processor. If anyhow, if we can keep the data always in the RAM, then no need to bring the data here always, or we can reduce the traversing time, or we can reduce the traversing time means in the data exchange, whatever the time we are spending, so that can be reduced. Okay, so this is the concept of your IO process. Now, if we will develop this concept IO process, then we can understand what is the current architect of your HANA, this traditional database, or what we are saying that in-memory technology. So in HANA is completely based on in-memory technology. So what is this in-memory technology? Let's understand. Back to my example. If you'll see your existing architecture is here. You have the disk, because I told you in a traditional system you are going to store the data in the magnetic disk. So this is your disk. Then you are using processor, or what we are saying that this is your CPU. Some people they used to say it is CPU register. Within one single CPU, you will find multiple processors, or there we are saying that chips. So that means under this CPU, you will find the processors. Right now also in our existing system, currently we are working like this. So when you are transferring the data, okay, when you are transferring the data, in application layer, we have the dispatcher and work processors are there. So when you are going to save the data, okay, so user added the data, user feeded the information. So here we have the multiple processors are there. So the moment you are, let's say you are creating a master data, you saved it, it is going to specific table. How? With this processor. Again, suppose you created the vendor, I am searching the vendor. So I just put my query or executed the vendor number. So this command or this query system is carrying here through the processor. It is going to read from the database and it is bringing back the information. So this is known as your IO process. Okay, so this is how currently we are working, because your original data is available in the database. For the processing point of view, we need to bring it back to the application layer. We will process it, and finally user is going to get the information. So in current system, so this is your disk, this is your process, or I can say this one is This is not only applicable in the SAP, you will find this one everywhere. For example, right now you are using the smartphones and your smartphone architecture is like octa-core processor. So what is the meaning of octa-core processor? That means at a time we can deploy 8 processors to process our data. Quad-core processor earlier there. That means 4 processors we can deploy. Same concept here also. And here you will find a very small amount of RAM. Why very small amount of RAM? Because RAM is costly compared to your hard disk. So that is why we are using very small RAM. Or now you can say if you compare your current system with your old system, nowadays you are finding a laptop with 16 GB something, you are getting the RAM size. Whereas if you compare 10 years back, if someone having 2 GB RAM, it is very good system. So due to this innovations, okay, hardware price is also drastically reduced. So now we can think to take the RAM as your main memory. So this is how your current architecture or current system is working. Now, what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is whenever you are going to store the data, always we are going to store the data here in the hard disk. RAM is very less RAM, so that means processing will be very less. And second thing, we have another disadvantage, that is your locking mechanism. Okay, locking mechanism. So what is locking mechanism? Locking mechanism means, for example, let's say we are trying to retrieve a customizing report for 1 year, and whenever you are executed the report, or let's say you want to take the data, we just executed the report, and let's say system is allocated that particular single query into multiple queries. Okay, the single query split into multiple queries. So we are going to take the data from January, February, March, like this. But here problem is, at a time you can only use one single CPU. Suppose you are having 4 CPUs are there, or 4 processor, not CPU, 4 processors are there. Then processor A is if at active, then processor B, C, those other processors are locked. Once processor B will active, other processor will be locked. So that means phase by phase we are going to read the data. So this is the disadvantage of your current architecture or current RDBMS system or current processor. Now, what will be the future? So in the HANA system, or in an in-memory system with multi-core processing, or which is also known as your parallel processing, same architecture, but we are going to see in a different way. Can we replace the disk? No, disk will be always there because this is your main memory. So again, we need the disk also. Now we can take a huge RAM. Thanks to all the innovations, the price reduced drastically. So now we can think and we can afford also. So now we can go for a huge memory. Right? Now coming to the processor. Previously, when we are completely dependent on the single processor or due to the locking mechanism, now we developed this concept. Now we can use multi-core processing with multiple blades, or that is known as also core processing. That means within this processor, we have multiple processors are there, or within this CPU, we have multiple processors are there, or I can say within this, you can see So what are these? This is known as your multi-CPU. So if you'll check the document, SAP document what I shared, you will find all this. Okay, so right now we are explaining, I'm explaining the H01. So this is your multi-CPU with multi-cores. Multi-cores. Now you can just compare the system. Previously, when we are dependent on or the processor capacity was less, now you can see we expand or the processing power also capacity also increased. Previously, when we have very less RAM was there, now you can see your RAM size also increased. And this one we will see, the disk one we will see. So this is the benefit of, or this is the new hardware architecture. Now how this system is going to help us, because initially when customers they started complaining this BW system or this analytics system is very slow, we are getting very slow report and all, then SAP initially thought we are going to introduce some booster, some accelerator, so that we can enhance the capacity of the system. They never thought that we are going to give a database. They thought like if anyhow we can enhance the speed, then the purpose will be solved. So that is why they work on two things. One is your in-memory technology. So this is your in-memory technology with multiprocessing. In-memory technology means instead of storing the data in the hard disk, traditional hard disk, if anyhow we can store the data here in the RAM, and RAM always we know connected with your CPU, so the processing will be faster. So that is the concept of in-memory. That means in RAM we are going to store the data permanently. Again, you may ask me questions, if we are going to store the data RAM, then what happen if the power outage will be there, because RAM always we know it is a volatile memory. So we will see that, but here for the time being you just accept it. We are going to store the data in the temporary memory or the RAM as your primary memory. This is one thing. Second thing, we are going to, so that means processing power of CPU has been increased with multiple core processors. So this is the example of your multiple core processors. That means uh, it is we can say within one CPU multi cores are available, or within one single chip multiple processors are there, and each one is your processor, and no more locking mechanism is available. So we can enhance the speed by introducing this in memory. Another disadvantage also there in the old system. Okay, so first to understand this one, any question on this in memory? Let me take a break here. Let me ask you a question. In memory. Right. So if you understood this one, next coming to the table. So as I told, a traditional RDBMS system is always, or the data is going to store in the two-dimensional structure. So again, we know what is two-dimensional, rows and columns. So that is known as your table. So it is right now you are going to store the data in a row-based layout. Okay. So that means we can say right now if you are going to store the data, so attributes of tuple, this is stored consecutively and sequentially in memory. So what does it mean? Let's understand by taking one example. So I have some informations. Okay, so country, salesperson, and the sales volume, sales amount. these are my various informations, or I have some informations are there, and we are going to feed the data in the system. So how system is going to store the data in the system in the current architecture. So in the current architecture, as we know, system is going to store the data in a combination of row and column. So that means, and system is going to read the data, how it is going to read the data. So left to right, it is going to read the data. So that means it is going to read the data. This is how it is going to read the data, left to right, like this. Suppose my requirement is what is the total sales, the total country wise total sales. So that means here I need information. The query is like this: what is the country wise sales figure? So I need the information about this one, and we need the information about this one. In between, some other informations are there, but those are not relevant for our reporting purpose. But it is not going to read like this. It is going to read each and every field, each and every column, irrespective of whether you need this or you don't need this. So that means we can say this is the disadvantage. So system is going to traverse all the records and all the sales, even if you are interested in the single sale. Okay, so it is going to read all the data, whatever is available here. This is the architecture. This is the architecture of your current RDBMS system. So that means this one is not required. Maybe suppose, let's say here some other information, salesperson ID or something is there. So those informations are not required, but it is going to read all the data, whatever is available there. Not only it is going to read the data, suppose you are going to change any record. Okay, if in one particular cell or in one particular field table you are going to change something, the entire record will be rewritten inside this system. For this, we need to activate the change log, and again huge memory consumption is required. That is another disadvantage. So system is going to travel all the records even if we don't need. If any changes is required, the entire record will be changes. It is going to be rewritten. Second thing, if multiple data is available, then it is not going to, for example, you can see Germany, France 2 times it is there. It is also going to read 2 times. Okay, so that this is how current structure we are going to, this is how in current system it is going to work. So that means, and again, we know also in current system, we have lot of index tables. So what is this index tables and all, we will discuss once we will come to the universal journal. So that means we can say here we have huge number of tables are there. Then the reading capacity, like the data we are going to store in a different way, or system is going to read data in from left to right, and if it is not required also, it is going to spend the time, it is going to spend the RAM, or you're going to spend the memory for that also. So this is how in the current system we are going to work. Now they change the structure from a traditional row and column system. They convert it into, instead of this, if we can store the data in different way. This is your traditional approach. Now if we can store the data if we can convert this single table into multiple small tables, that means country wise one single table or one column added, let's say USA, then UK, then France, Germany. Same like your salesperson also. And your sales figures also. Now suppose I want what is the total sales figure, what is the total sales figure for this year. So I don't need the information about this column, I don't need the information about this column. Directly it is going to read the data. So we can save the processing time as well as the processing speed can be enhanced. Secondly, if any duplication of data is there, you can imagine what is the duplication of data. For example, if you log into the system, let me log into the so you take any table, sorry. Okay, so this is your material type, attributes of material type. So you can see how many times this ROH there, raw material is there, how many times this FERT is there. So if multiple informations are there or multiple times the same information or same it is repeated, system is going to read same multiple times. So we are going to change the architecture also. So instead of that, we are going to define here the position. That means this France is there in position 3 and in position 4. Three and 4. So if any changes is required, let's say position 4 changes is required, so directly the change will be, or any changes is required in that position we can highlight. So this is with these two features. One is your, three features in fact. One is your in memory, this one. Change in the architecture of your column, the data storing from a old system to new system. You just check here. We know we have a table is there, right? BSEC table. So if you'll see the structure of the BSEC table, you will find here, this is EC system, you will find it is undefined. So it is undefined. That means it is a combination of your column store as well as row store. Let's see same table in S4 system. Don't surprise why we are taking the BSEC. BSEC is not there. BSEC is there. Why BSEC is there? We will see. BSEC is still there so far. It's column store. That means the old architecture we changed into new architecture. So instead of using the traditional database, or instead of using the traditional way how we used to store the data, we are going to store the data in the columnar. So with these three features, SAP introduced one new product, not HANA database. They introduce a new product just to enhance the speed, that is known as your BWA. Okay, if you check any old article or any old document, you will find this one, because this one was introduced in 2011 just to enhance the speed. Back to our original example. So here we have the system. We need to take the data from the source system, and here instead of using this database, we are going to still in 2011 we are still dependent on the any other database, but in between we can use BWA. So here, just to enhance the speed, we can use BWA system, Business Warehouse Accelerator, BWA. And this one, and this is capable of multiprocessing. This is in like in memory technology. That means it is a RAM-based application, or sorry, RAM-based hardware. And this one you are going to staple with your application layer. Somehow your problem solved, the speed issue was solved, but another problem is there. Now, how many duplicate document we are going to have here? First, one document will be posted by user 1. Same document once again you are going to take into another database or another system, you can say OLAP system second. Now with this BWA, same data once again we are going to take here to enhance the speed. So data redundancy is too much. That means multiple times same informations we have. This is the first issue. Second issue is again the license cost. Already we are paying the license for the ERP system, ECC. We are paying the license for BW. We are paying the license for the Informatica or the ETL tool. Again, we have to pay our customer, they have to pay the license for the BWA also. So again, this is another problem. Third thing, this one is completely RAM based. So if something is going to happen, then we may lose the data also, right? So that is why they can't reduce or they can't drop the original database, right? So initially, along with your primary database or Oracle database or any database, they started using or customer started using or SAP introduced this BWA. That means you have to use two systems. This one is your primary database and this is just to enhance the speed. You can say it is the booster. After successfully, this was the pilot one. So after successful all these things, finally in 2012, SAP introduced the BW system powered by HANA. If you'll see this, there. See here, in-memory platform, just now I explained, we got it in 2011, so BWA. In 2012, we got the real-time analysis and real-time reporting. What does it mean? So that means if we can, instead of using a traditional database, if we can use a regular database, which is in-memory database, all with these new features of whatever was there in the BWA, if we can develop one database, then the problem of that means taking the data and all these problems resolved. So that is the meaning of this one. So that means SAP Business Warehouse powered by SAP HANA or SAP BW powered by HANA. This is the first product officially SAP released on the HANA platform or on the HANA based in 2012. But still, by using this one, again the theft is there. If power outage will be there, then how we are going to manage this one? Then finally they revised this one and we got a new product like this. Or we are going to merge two things. We are going to merge the existing RDBMS system and we are going to merge the BWA both. So that means the traditional database plus the in-memory technology. So we are going to get a system, or the HANA database is HANA database, not appliance. HANA database is a combination of everything. HANA database is combination of Trex engine. All these are not required for you, more technical, but still better to know it. Trex engine, which is nothing but your based on in-memory technology. Then we need a regular database or RDBMS. So this one is your RDBMS and this product they introduce here. P start time. But we have to develop something which will automatically take the backup. Okay, which will automatically take the backup. So for that purpose, this one introduced is MaxDB for the backup purpose. SAP is claiming that means HANA system is always running. It's always running, no downtime, nothing. How? So they've introduced this product, MaxDB. So what is the MaxDB? If we highlight this one we are using for the backup. Okay, so this is we are using for the backup purpose. That means if you'll check a HANA platform, because it is completely based on the RAM. So this one is your memory. Memory means nothing but RAM. Okay, and we are saying that there will be a auto recovery process when there will be power interruption will be there. Auto recovery. So when we are saying that auto recovery of what? Auto recovery of your data, auto recovery of logic also. Both is required. Not only the data, we need the auto recovery of program or the logic. That is also required. So that is why this is the structure of your MaxDB. Okay. So this one is your data portion, data area, and this one is your logic, log area. So that means we are going to take the data backup for this, and we are going to take the data logic backup also. And where we are going to store? As usual, we are going to store in the disks. That is why in the beginning I told this, if you remember the first diagram what I gave, like that means we are still, the disk is there. Sorry, not this one, this one. Still disk is there. Why? Because we are going to take the data or the backup in the disk. So this is your I hope you are getting my points. So this is your data backup and this is your logic backup or log backups. So how these things are happening? These things are happening, that means SAP is saying that automatically it is working through something called Savepoint. So what is Savepoint? Savepoint says something automatically within 1 second multiple times system is taking the screenshots. Automatically system is capturing the data or the screenshot it is taking for the data. So if something will happen, so that we can retrieve the data, and it is going to start from that point also. So that is why we are saying that SAP HANA is always running, and for this we have something called commit. So these are the purely technical, the hardware side, but you should have the knowledge on this one. Commit. This is a combination of your what? MaxDB. So finally, if you'll see what is HANA database, HANA database. So that is a combination of in-memory technology. It is a combination of your RDBMS, and it is a combination of your backup. So this is the backup system. Fine. With all this, finally SAP introduced this HANA system. That means instead of using any other database, now we can use HANA as your primary database. This one is your primary database. So that means I don't need this one now. BW not required. Sorry, not BW, my mistake. BWA, Business Warehouse Accelerated. This one is not required. And we are going to take the data from here, because it is capable of everything. What are the new features we discussed? This one is capable of everything. At this point in 2012, can we drop the ETL concept? Not possible. right? Why? Because still we are using two database. That means your OLTP database is different and your OLAP database is different. So you have to take the data from the source system to the, I mean, from this system to the new system. So they further revised it, and now we are going to get, if you'll see the 2013, lot of innovations was there in the 2013. One point is OLAP and OLTP now together. So that means in 2000, this is your 2012. In 2013, I can remove this one. I can remove this one. Okay, so instead of using all this, I can use this one as HANA database as our primary database. Lot of customers you will find right now, they are not using anything related to application side, because so far we have not discussed anything from the application side. Lot of customers still they are using ECC as their application, but they have changed the database. That means they have migrated the database from any other database to HANA database, because this one is coming with your embedded BW. So now no need to use any ETL tool, because we don't have two different systems. So everything is in one system, and now we can get the immediate informations, or that is the meaning of this one, real-time business and OLTP and OLAP. This is the together. Okay, so any question up to this? So we discussed the hardware part. Now coming to the uh, coming to the application side, because so far in 2000 up to 2013 there is no development from the application point of view. Everything we discussed, all these are your hardware. Then once after the settlement of the HANA database, then SAP started thinking about the application point of view, so that they can simplify the business process, right? So the first one is your finance, because right now we are saying that it is S4 HANA Finance or S4 HANA Business Suite. You are saying enterprise management, so all these things. But initially it was simple finance. Right now, if you are using the term simple finance, it's a wrong word. But that time it was simple finance. That means we are going to have some basic features. So that means if we suppose we are going to do a migration, so this is how you are going to do this. Okay, so this is your database. This is your R3 system. So here you are using, let's say, Oracle database. Here you are using ECC. I'm not going for the version, whatever the version you are using, let's accept it. So this is your ECC, and here you are using the GUI. Fine. In 2013, why I'm saying 2013 is very important. In lot of things are innovated in 2013. One is the deployment. Okay. Then we got the concept of universal journal, that is also in 2013. So deployment we got. Then you can see this enterprise, the cloud technology, that means it is the deployment. So that also we are going to see. So right now I'm going to give you the background about the universal journal. So let's understand this one first. So currently this is how you are working, and we are going to, or just now we discussed, we are not going to use this database anymore. Instead of that, we are going to use a HANA database, which is capable of all your features. So that means we can say we are going to do a migration. So this is the migration of your database. Okay, So here what you are using, let's say DMO, database migration object. So that means we just change the database. Okay, what are the benefit of database migration? One is we are getting the embedded BW, the architecture changed, right? Then here we are getting the application layer, inbuilt application layer also. Now at this stage, it's up to the customer. They still want to continue with the ECC, they can go for that, or along with ECC, they can go for some new features also. That is, we are saying that SFIN 1.0. So that means here we have the ECC as usual it was there. Along with the ECC, you are going to use as an additional function or the top up we can say. So we can use here Simple Finance 1.0 and the versions you will find 1503, 1506, those are. So that means along with your ECC as your ERP component, few new functionalities innovated or few new functionalities are there. One of them, and here what you are going to do, here later in 2013, we got the cloud functionalities also. So along with your GUI, you can get the Fury also. This one we will see later. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Any comments, any query, feel free to put in the comment section or you can mail me also. Thank you.